Hello everyone, this is Muttu.
Hi, Mutu.
Hi,
It's Susan.
Motu. I was on mute. Hi, Susan.
Hi.
See if I can get. People are still joining in here, so we'll wait for a little bit.
This is Joe's from AMI.
Hey, Joes.
Hey, Jonas.
I did. Oh. Hmm. 13th. Okay. Antitrust policy. Yep.
Hello.
Hello. So we have an agenda up. Let's see if I can share that. Perhaps, Louise, you wanted to share the antitrust thing first?
Everyone, yeah, sorry I'm late.
Ah, how are you? Oh, yeah, maybe a little bit. No worries.
Yeah, let me get it up on the screen here. I just jumped off another call that ran over time. Let me get back to where I need to be here. You can go ahead and start. I need to get back to, I need to refresh my screen here.
Yeah, I'm still setting up some level of, I just try to figure out who's on. Okay, so today we have on the agenda, I'll show it later, the antitrust policy, which is just a quick thing, I guess. Or did you want to talk about it?
No, no change. It's just a standard. Yeah, everybody's seen it. It's all good.
A short update on the release, just quickly where we are. We have the LFN virtual events that we need to talk about, and we have some volunteers already, so it's firming up, but we need to actually submit that this week. So, and then we had ODIM LFN introduction presentation. I don't know who added that.
Yeah, I had added that because I made it's a draft, and so it's open for community input to start adding information. Okay. It's pretty much a skeleton. It's on Google Drive.
Oh yeah, that was for the TAC thing, was it?
Correct. It's for LFN TAC induction. Yeah, I could probably update that link here.
All right.
Anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense. So so did we have? We didn't get Alex here today. Oh, Thomas is here. I haven't seen you in a while. Hi, Thomas.
Hi. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Daniel, I probably need to take notes of all the. Luis, did you want to show the antitrust thingy, or?
Yeah, I'll put it up on the screen real quick.
Okay. That way we have done that.
Yeah, standard antitrust policy there for Linux Foundation networking. No changes, just standard policy.
Yep. Very good. So for release update, I will hand over to Susan. It's just like a quick thing at where we are and so on. So Susan?
Sure, you bet. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the first ODIM release at the end of January, which this team decided will be called ODIM 21.01, which reflects the year 2021 and the month January, the integration test period is complete. And for example, the unmanaged rack manager plugin, or URP, that has been developed by Intel has now been merged into the main development branch. And so there is now, we moved into the release candidate period, and an email went out to the various distribution lists yesterday with a link to this release candidate 0 with a link to where to get to the code. So there's a couple of instructions that went out to developers and folks testing and filing issues and how to do that. There's probably going to be another build or two, depends on what kind of issues come in. There's a comment that only the higher priority defects will be addressed during this RC period. And the main branch has been renamed from a master branch to a main branch going forward. So that's where we are in the process. And I think that covers it. Did I miss anything anybody wants to add?
No, just that so the branch wise, I guess the release, I think, is it release underscore 21.01 that we have out now? That's where you will see the RC releases. So you switch over to that branch with git checkout, and then you will see tags in there. And there is a tag RC0 that you can use, or if there will be an RC1, you can use that tag, and hopefully you know how to use tags. It's just like using a commit, basically. So that you will see those releases coming in there. Once we reach end of January, there will be there is a main branch, like Susan said. That's where you will find the actual release. So we will merge the release branch into the main branch, and then we tag it 2101, and that's it. And then if somebody hit the project and they clone it, they will get 2101 release. Development is still going on in the development branch, so you will see new features coming in there. So obviously, please test this if you can or may, and log issues. Minor issues, we will just document as part of the release and fix them in the maintenance release. If we do maintenance releases, remember, we are still to decide what we want to do after the first release. Larger issues, though, or higher priority issues, and there is a label for priority now in the Git issue when you create an issue. They will be fixed, obviously, so before the release. So that's we're keeping an eye on those issues coming in for now. Then. So yeah, any questions? I mean, this is the first time we're doing this, so hopefully, and also as I mentioned last week, this release will still be Docker based and not Kubernetes. I wonder if we have Barath here. Yeah, Barath is here. So I don't think we had time to get Barath. Do you want to just confirm that this is Docker? It's not Kubernetes, because we didn't have time to get that completely in place before the release.
Actually, this will be Docker based because we can't make the.
Can you speak up a little bit? It's very faint.
I think you're.
Sorry. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the current release will be on Docker, and the next release will be on Kubernetes. We are close to, finishing the Kubernetes implementation, but we still have some work.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
that's what I thought. Yeah, so I think that's all on the release, but I think fairly quickly we need to, because we have this thing coming up with the LFN presentation. I think it would be good for us if we could decide how we want to do with releases going forward.
Well,
Uh,
maybe we should defer that until after we join the umbrella, right? Because then we may get additional constituents or whatever. We also will need to shift to Jira and some of the other tools that are being used by the rest of the project so that we're aligned in terms of the tool chain. So the
but
question,
that means we will not know if we should or should not work on a maintenance release till after March.
well,
That
we need to even understand if that makes any, if we do, yeah. Again, I think we had an outstanding issue which you guys may have closed while I've been away on vacation, but the outstanding issue was whether or not maintenance releases are useful or even viable given the size of the community, right? So if we've
yeah.
solved that, if we've closed that issue, great. Then I just want to know
No,
what
we
the,
haven't.
yeah.
We haven't.
So before we decide whether or not we work on a maintenance release, we should think about, that question, because again, these
Yeah.
maintenance releases will require a cycle of testing and integration. It's exactly what we've said
No,
before.
not integration. Absolutely not.
Well, in some sense, I mean, again, there's a certain level of stability that would need to be attained in order to have a maintenance release, and we need to understand, what that entails and what's the amount of effort to do that. I would imagine it would be the same as a major release.
No, yeah, it's just fixing those low priority issues that are popping up either now during the RC period or after the release. So if we don't do that, obviously people can wait for the next release to get those fixed, which then is, I guess, 6 months from the first release.
Well, I
Or if
think maintenance releases typically take care of high priority issues first, and noise gets deferred to something else. So security issues, major structural issues, API incompatibilities, things of that nature would typically get done as maintenance for a major release. At least, commercially, that's how it's done. So I would imagine, if we choose to do the same thing and have a maintenance release, then the question becomes, can we do it in parallel with new development, or will it end up being serial? And if it's serial, then well, then we need to think
well,
of.
it's not going to be serial, right? So I think first out, I think when you say high priority issues,
Hmm.
I like to think that most of those are worked out before the actual release during the RC period. But then you're very right. There could be some of them showing up after the release. I think they will be fixed independently of us having a maintenance release or not, because these bugs are at least inside HPE, we schedule them into the sprints, so they are getting addressed. So whether you have a maintenance release or not, the bugs will be fixed, and development is obviously going on in the development branch. The question is, should we look at what we released in January, and then just port over the fixes and release a maintenance release, or should we not? Should we wait till what is that, July then, I guess?
Right,
Well,
July.
yeah, it would be July. Yes, I think we can certainly look at having a maintenance release, and maybe that's the learnings we need, right? Because if we do one, then we will really understand the impact on new development work at the same time. If it turns out that that comes to a screeching halt because it's the same people being double booked to do the maintenance release and the other one and the new development, then then we learn from that. Maybe that's the way to go forward. But I think we have a release now. We're legitimate. The first. It's not pretty, but it's a first release, and now we're gonna get merged into an umbrella, which will have its own ramifications. Um, but yeah, we maybe should tee up a topic for discussion and say yes, we will do a maintenance release.
So
Yeah, we need.
before the maintenance release, question here, it's more tactical, is what will be the development process? I mean, where's the development is gonna be happening? Where are patches from the community gonna be sent?
Right. And yeah.
I didn't get that, Alex. Sorry, William. I didn't get that. So you're saying, what is the development process? I guess the release process is kind of documented, but we only agreed for the first release, so we can completely change that. But the development process is obviously you see those issues, and the thing with issues though is that if they pop up, they're obviously something that we didn't test. So when we fix them, we need to make sure that they are tested, so they can't slip through in the future as part of the whole CI/CD pipeline thing. So I think that there is no overhead in fixing those issues. They need to be fixed. The overhead is to preparing for the release itself, right?
But two questions there. Are you saying that, for example, there's a release, there's a bug that someone submit a patch? What's going to happen with that patch? I mean, is it going where?
I think that the question there is, if we don't have a maintenance release, the fix will only go in, and after the release, we have no maintenance release, the fix will only go into the development branch. That's it. If you have a maintenance release, the fix would obviously need to go into the release branch as well, because we're planning for the maintenance release, right? So that's it's kind of key to decide this fairly quickly, I think, so that we know what to do with issues. I mean, we can just fix them and stick them into the development branch, and if we decide we have a maintenance lead later, we have to just port all those fixes over to.
So the only concern I have, I mean, we can do all these things. Just something to think about for us. If we are now becoming rapidly part of the LF umbrella, then one would expect that there would be Jira issues, there would be user stories in Jira, all sorts of things would need to get done, so that we're aligned with the whole Confluence environment is aligned with that, and you can look things up very quickly. There's a lot of integration that happens. So the question then becomes, do we want to embark on the next release with the old tools or the new tools? Or, could we say that when we become part of the umbrella, then this initial release 21.01 or whatever it's called, that would in essence be the seed for the new environment. And then whatever issues we've got, whatever problems we find, they would get logged in using the tool chain that the LF Foundation, Linux Foundation projects have been accustomed to.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't think there is any change of tools apart from potentially moving away from using Git issues to instead using Jira, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we changed Git quite a bit, like we talked about last week, on just making sure that Jira properties are kind of reflected in there. So I think that move will be quite easy.
Okay.
But the question is obviously, yeah, so we can obviously, I mean, if we just do not do a maintenance release, then because the next release is going to be scheduled for July anyhow, and I think we are moving to LFN not as rapidly as I would like to see, but it is what it is. So it's going to be March, right? So if we move there in March, that's when is that when our maintenance release is due, or is that in April? Probably in April, right?
April. Yeah.
April, yeah. So we have 1 month then, if we like to decide it at that time. And all the fixes we did for issues in the release are only in the development branch and not in the release branch. But we can manually move them over, of course, no issues.
Yeah.
I think perhaps this is a longer discussion, Alex, and it ties back a little bit to also the whole release process, and perhaps we schedule some time for it. We don't have to decide this today. Perhaps we do it next week.
I agree.
We had a couple of other topics specifically around the presentation for the LFN thing that we need to.
Sure.
Okay. So let's not decide now, but at least you know that the release is on track, and what to do later. And there's other details that we need to decide on, like the release branches. Should we just delete them once we're done and create a new one once we're getting ready for a new release? Or I mean, yeah, there are all sorts of discussions we need to have. Okay.
Also, do we have what do we have for documentation so far?
For the release process?
For the release, yeah.
Yeah, so we had this, let's see if we can find that. Where did we stick that, Susan? Release management. Yeah, it's one of the, yeah, let me share. Hopefully that works. I can share it. So here, is it coming across? Can you see my Confluence thing here?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So release management is here, right? And there we have a draft proposal. We say it's approved for release 1. And in here, you have some definitions and stuff. So the maintenance release was kind of grayed out a little bit because we never concluded that, but that is scheduled for April 30th then. So that's, as soon as we have the first release, we will obviously start fixing things here. We would do that in any case, but if we decide to not do that, we don't have to do the release candidate period and all that. Okay.
So there's another thing that's lurking here that we now have to address. We've been sort of maybe sidestepping this for a while, but and that is compatibility between releases. Compatibility in terms of different kinds of interfaces, compatibility in terms of functionality. Now that we've got one, before we do the next one, we need to decide what's okay and what's not okay to do. So an example might be that, APIs, and I don't mean Redfish APIs because obviously that namespace is managed by somebody else, but we have other potentially interfaces and other things that are private to ODIM, but being used on a wide scale. So we probably want to stipulate what it means to make to deprecate something versus add a new interface versus modify something. Do we only do it in major releases? Is it okay to do in the maintenance as well? I think we've talked about this way in the beginning, and then we kind of punted on that discussion for lack of actual release. Now that we've got one, I think it would be good to not only document what's there, but also to start putting in place some guardrails around what is okay and not okay to do in these releases.
Yeah, I agree. So it's a longer discussion. Let's see if we can tee that up for.
Yeah,
I think it's a TSC meeting, though. It's not the proposal meeting. It's a TSC meeting.
It is a TSC meeting. Yes, I would agree with that.
All right. So if we move into the event that Luis was talking about last week, it's February 1st to 4th. So, and the proposal is due this coming Friday. So we met last week and we had some of us. It was early in the morning for some people. So it was. We did this page here, which is basically mimicking what's going on the LFN side for this event. So here's the template first. And then we had the ONAP track. And here, obviously, we have a short description. And we said introduction to the ODIM project. And it's specifically for ONAP. So it's an introduction of the project and dive into how the ONAP and ODIM project could benefit from collaboration. And Joe's has agreed to take this one on. Joe's right? I didn't misunderstand you.
Yes, Jonas. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
So
then,
what exactly are we? I mean, are we? Okay. So just trying to understand what this means.
Which one means?
ODIM introduction for ONAP.
Right. So this was my idea. So the idea is, as we begin to move forward to become part of Linux Foundation, this gathering has tracks for ONAP, tracks for Anakit, tracks for other LFN projects. This is an opportunity to begin having a collaboration dialogue with a client community for ODIM, right?
But the reason I'm asking is because the multi-cloud layer is the bottom part of ONAP, and it has nothing to do with physical infrastructure. So the question becomes, in fact, it only deals with virtual resources, with the exception of PNFs. So the question becomes, what is it that we're bringing to the table, and why would we want this track to happen? I asked this from two sides. There was already a proposal in ONAP for inclusion of physical infrastructure management. That proposal was brought in by Intel, and I think it was co-signed by Ericsson, if I'm not mistaken, at the time. That project was put on hold, but we had some very specific use cases aligned with ONAP on how physical infrastructure management could be beneficial. It may not necessarily be, obviously part of ONAP, but how the kinds of use cases that would benefit from having a connection between the two. I'm wondering if there's if we should look at what those use cases were and what's been proposed in ONAP and see if we want to use that as a foundation for this discussion.
Sounds like that makes sense. I mean, it was, for me, it was just an opportunity to start that kind of dialogue where, the details of where I obviously need help from the EU technical folks on, what would make the most sense to, have some sort of introductory, what's in it for them, kind of, why should they care about hardware infrastructure management?
Well, they don't, right? But they do care about edge computing and other things that may be enhanced by having a well-known interface to physical infrastructure. That's kind of, I think that's what we really need to kind of hammer on here, is that we're not expecting them to integrate ODIM into ONAP. We are expecting that in some cases, being able to craft virtual infrastructure on demand, that was one of the use cases, would be appropriate, and then there was a whole bunch of stuff around, precision of deployment and all sorts of things. But we can talk about that. I think we need to, if we're going to have this track, let's kind of relate it to something real.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this was a placeholder to tee something up, get a basic abstract in place by the end of the week here, and then in the subsequent following 2 weeks, put together a presentation that gives enough of a teaser to get some people engaged after this conference.
But can I suggest that for this meeting, we maybe, I mean, it's good that you brought it up, Alex, but it's something that I guess you can give input to Joe, so you can work with him, so we get this kind of relevant to them, and I think that's important, right?
Yes.
But,
Well, I mean,
that's what,
we've done
Alex,
the
yeah,
random.
Alex, if you have bandwidth, we can do this together. No, we can make, topic leader could be Jose and Alex. We both can work together and then bring this.
yep,
to the
we have
table.
other tracks though, so please. Well,
Okay.
anyhow, yeah. So of course you can. So do you think this is a 30 minutes presentation, or?
I think it would be a little bit more than that, right? So I think we would, if we want to make it relevant, then we need to start by discussing the sorts of use cases and pain points that would be alleviated by an integration with ODIM. And
So you only
then
have 30 or 60 minutes, so that's why I'm asking. So I put 60 down there.
60 is, I mean, my fear is that, we've done these introductions already to a lot of open source communities, and they just kind of sit there and, check their email while we talk.
Yeah.
So we need to do our homework on what is near and dear to ONAP these days, and then align our introduction with that. And if there is no alignment, then maybe it's premature to talk about any kind of collaboration for now.
Yeah. Well, Louise, is this enough for this proposal for this track here?
I think this is enough for a placeholder. Yeah, I think
okay.
we can put this over on the event wiki page.
Yeah. So this is just for this part here, right? We need to go through the others as well.
Yes.
So then we're talking about an introduction to ODIM. This is the ODIM track, and Louise, I'm not quite clear on if we are going to go on for one of those 4 days, or if this track might be spread out. Do you know yet?
Yeah, it'll spread out across the 4 days. It would probably not be back to back, because I think we'll get a lot less participation. So we'll spread it across. Yeah.
Makes sense. So this one though, and the difference between this and ONAP is it will not be specific to ONAP. It will be more about why we introduced the ODIM project, the project status. We have just the release and these type of things. Definition of the problems that ODIM is solving. So a little bit what we have done before, and then potential collaboration with other LFN projects. And this is open. I don't have anybody to grab this. We did grab, however, the demo that is in the end from HPE.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see HPE on everything here, so that's why
I'm happy to be one of the names. I think we can certainly craft something here similar to what we've done before. So we've done 1 million of these presentations. We want to make sure that whatever we say here is at least consistent with what the previous ONAP track would talk about in terms of general sort of information, so we can reuse a lot of the slides. But yes, we can.
Do you think this is more than 30 minutes as well, right?
Yeah, I would imagine if we get into questions, then yes, it would be. Yes. I think this is an interesting conversation, especially the part that you mentioned around collaboration with other projects, right? So we ought to figure out exactly which projects we want to go and name publicly. So for example, I can envision a very interesting sort of relationship, sort of a domino effect kind of here between Acrano and Airship and a bunch of other things, and then obviously there's CNCF related work in Kubernetes and elsewhere. So we need to kind of be very deliberate about who we mention and who we go after, right?
Yeah, so I guess Acrano is in LV, right? But yeah, I agree.
Acrano is part of Linux Foundation, I believe, right?
It's a LF Edge project.
Yeah, but everything is LF. So, yeah.
As long as it's LF something, I think we can talk about it, right?
Sure.
I just don't want to name a bunch of projects and then wave hands, right? If we're going to name somebody, we should again be very deliberate and intentional about the relationship we're looking to have.
Yep. So I think that's good, Alex, and I put your name right now. Obviously, we can have co-presenters as well if it's
Yeah.
60 minutes, so we can get back to that. But just for submitting it, I think it's good enough. Then as far as the ODIM release 1, that's where we wanted to go through the release basically, and the status of the project a little bit. Also a little bit on the release process, and this is also it's not clear right now, so we might need to
You know what I would
defer it.
what I would do, Johan here, Jonas, rather. I'm sorry. Is to focus less on the release cadence and all that, which may change, as a result of this migration or whatever. But really, kind of, if for those people that want to take a look, I think what we need to do is provide enough information for them to go to the GitHub and then like find.
No, that's yeah, but that's in the next one as well. So,
I didn't see. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. So I think here what we can do is we can walk through all the features that are there in release 1, like on a high level, right?
Can we combine it? I mean, it seems kind of silly to split this, right? Because in some sense, what we can say is that for release 1, right? And now that we're part of LF something, we're going to have cool code names for releases, right? Like everybody else. Or are we going to stick with 2101? So that's an interesting question too. But whatever it is, release 1, I think it would be good to maybe spend 1 hour collectively on how, what it is, how to build it, and how to run it, and more importantly, how to contribute.
Yep. Yeah, and I think project names is fine. They can exist in parallel, just like Ubuntu and Mint and all these guys. Yeah. But so the question about combining these two, though, is that I guess for the build and run, just to get into what that is we will basically show how you clone, how you build ODIM. We will show how you use ODIM with some REST clients, and then actually, Joe's, I don't know if you have any feedback on this one. You were kind of very positive last time we talked. We were hoping to put AMI's Composer on top, just to show that there are commercial things that can use this as well.
We should.
Yes, Jonas. Yeah, we confirm. I checked internally. We are good with this, so we can use Composer for this demo. Yeah.
I would, if there is a sequence here, and I'm not sure how this event is organized, but in terms of a sequence, I would, one way to optimize this would be to say, let's start with an introduction on some day. And, if that kind of allows us to set the general stage, then we can talk about ODIM. We can potentially talk about, how to build and run ODIM, how it relates to ONAP, and then what is in release 1, right? And I would talk about release 1 as the last thing, right? Because that's a deliverable that we currently have. But before we get there, let's kind of set the stage in terms of fundamentals.
Well, I mean, if you haven't talked about release 1, cloning and building is kind of a little, right? You need to have a release before you can clone and build, right?
Yeah, but again, walking. Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess it doesn't really matter. But in terms of doing the general introduction first, in terms of schedule sequencing, I think that would potentially eliminate some of the questions around, some of the obvious things, right? We can cover them up front, and then if there is, and refer people to those slides in subsequent presentations if needed. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I don't mind combining these two, but I think actually we will, as it is right now, the build and run is definitely going to take 60 minutes for sure, because we're going to have right. So that's why I was thinking somebody can give an overview of the release, and I don't have a name here. I mean, we have certainly, it's going to be very HPE heavy here, unless somebody else wants to join up.
Susan, do you want to maybe take on release 1 overview?
um,
So
Since you're the mastermind behind all this.
we can do it. Somebody at HP can do it. I
Yeah.
don't know if Susan has some scheduling issue there, but it depends on what day it is and stuff, right? But we can put HPE here for now. And if Susan can't make it, I can make it, or Martin can make it. That should be fine. Then we have, I guess, this one. If anybody is interested in helping out here, and specifically, I was thinking, if we get the AMI composer, if anybody on the AMI side wants to drive that one, like Muthu or Joe's or whoever you guys feel that would be helpful, then it would be a multi-company type of presentation as
Yes.
well.
Yes, Jonas. Yeah, I was about to request. I was about to ask. So you can add as AMI. No, I can work internally and.
So is the intent to do a demo of release 1 with existing commercial products?
No, so we will demo how you clone it. This is more to get the community up and running, right? So this is how you clone it. This is how you build it. And by the way, here are some REST clients you can use to add a server and list the inventory. And then, you know, this is mature enough, and we here is a commercial product that is also actually using it right now. And it wouldn't be extremely detailed. It will just be, I shouldn't say what it would be because it's AMI's business what it would be, but something to show that there is actually commercial products that can use this, right?
Yeah, we can put it in that way.
Yeah, what I would, it's almost like we need a separate session that kind of talks about, you know, the ODIM ecosystem or something where we can actually do the sort of demo we wanted to do for MWC, right? Where it's really about, you know, how ODIM is consumed by different tooling upstream and downstream, right? So, or the interactions between ODIM and upstream and downstream components. I think that almost, you know, if we do that as a demo, as a dog and pony show with, and not bind it to any particular release, I think that would be good. It's a demo, right? And we can make it interesting and very interactive and all that. I think build and run, and I would add in how you can develop, build and run. That's a worthwhile topic for those that want to roll up their sleeves and go take a look and maybe try something, right? I don't think, I think overloading it with a demo may be too much, right? Because, you know, doing a demo that says we have a bunch of commercial products that can consume ODIM, well, it doesn't really say much about build and run. It's not the same thing, right?
No, but we are building and running it here as well, right? In this demo.
Okay, I just want to give a little more attention to commercial products around.
Yeah, we have to be careful because we don't want to come across. So what I feel is valuable is to show a commercial northbound client is that it shows some degree of maturity, right? But we don't want to come across like, okay, we're using this event to pitch commercial products, because I've seen that in some open source events, and it's a little frowned upon. So you have to be a little careful, right?
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, we cannot promote a product here, right?
Yeah.
Just have to make sure that it is being shown as.
Is Raffle on the call? Is the BMC emulator, is that something that we can somehow show as part of this?
Sure, but that thing is not contributed to the project.
Yeah, that's
or
what
part
I was
of the release
asking.
yet.
Yeah. That's why I was asking if that would be prudent. I understand what you're saying. So we don't want to draw attention to commercial products here. Okay, but I think it would be.
So Alex, since you brought me up to the mic, yeah, the BMC, when Susan was showing the release candidate content, unfortunately BMC simulator is not part of it. We are wrapping up and will be soon be contributing, but as Jonas said, it's premature to use the BMC simulator. Maybe next presentation.
I guess I wouldn't be too shy about saying that they're commercial distros of ODIM, such as the HPE product. And there may be commercial users of ODIM already out there from the composition standpoint. I don't think that's a bad thing to mention, that this tool is not, this community is not just, just a bunch of code, but that code potentially can be used today with different products. And that kind of sets up that whole conversation around ONAP, right? Because in some sense, ONAP could dynamically, compose a bunch of resources and then inject them into their multi-cloud layer in the right shape and form, which was actually a use case from Verizon.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, Alex. I just wanted to people walk away with a feeling that, okay, this was about the project. And by the way, the project is mature enough for a commercial release. It's mature enough for somebody to have a client on top of it. That's just positive stuff. But if people walk away with, yeah, this was HPE's chance to pitch their ODIM release and AMI's chance to talk about their product, that's not how we want to come across. So we just have to be a little careful, I think.
Yes, I agree. But
okay.
Jonas, you can add Muthu's name. I checked.
I just saw that, so that's great. Thank you very much. Am I in? I'm not.
The build and
in
run,
edit
yeah.
mode here. I don't know why
So-
there is. Okay. Yeah. I think we're done with this for now. I'm just going to add Muthu here. Is this good enough? Do you think, Luis, to submit?
Yes, I think we're far enough along. We've got topic leaders for each one. I think we can put this onto the website. My question is around the release one and the build and run sessions. Do we want to? You want to schedule them back to back on the same day so that we get a continuous flow? We probably don't want to space them out a day, right? I just want to make sure when we schedule this thing. Yeah. So what I'm thinking maybe we do. I'm not certain if I heard consensus on which one comes first, but just putting it out there, perhaps we do release one overview first, and then in between a break, and then we start the build and run. My point is the same day, so that we don't have a big space. Okay.
Yeah, if we can count on combined 90 minutes, that gives us a little bit more freedom of how to structure the content.
Yep. So, because I know the PMs here at LF are going to be working on the scheduling, so I'll make myself a note on these sessions to schedule them back to back.
How do we get these in?
15-minute break.
And Louis,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Just on that same note, the overall introduction to ODIM we want to do fairly early in the event, so that people have an opportunity to go kind of get the broad strokes, and then we can get into the details.
Agreed. I'll try to get that that first one in on the first day, and then we'll have some freedom for the remaining two topics, if that works.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. So I stopped sharing because I had to go and fetch Musu's last name. I'm sorry, Musu.
Yeah, no worries. I'll type in the chat.
Okay, very cool. And then let me then share again here. So how do I go about this now then, Luis? Will we take all this and copy it over to the other page that you have? I think we stuck it actually here.
Oh,
this
no,
one.
not that
No,
one.
this one, right?
Oh, yes, that one. That one should be. Let's take a look at that page. Make sure it's the one.
We need to click on this proposals here. I think submit.
Correct. Topic proposals.
Yeah,
right there.
So this is the one, right? So
this is the one to plug it in. Yeah.
But do we have consensus from ONAP to add a session to them? I mean,
Yeah, I chatted a bit with Kenny. We're fine. Let's put it in there, and we'll vet it. If something changes, I'll let you know. But I don't think we're gonna have an issue.
So we will.
Matter of
Because in
fact,
that
I
case,
already
we will
put a
stick
place.
it here, right?
It would go here. My proposal was we put it in both places so it's cross-referenced. It'll be the same session though. I actually have a placeholder there, right at the bottom of that ONAP topic.
Yeah, you do, right? So I can put
right
it here.
there. Yep.
Yeah. But that's, and then the ODIM topics. Then will they go in here under this?
Correct. Yes, under there.
Do you want me to do this, or do you want to take this and copy it in? So I don't have a problem taking a stab at it. It's just that I don't want to
go. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, it's fine.
Bob, can I ask a quick question? Bob, is there a strong relationship between ONAP and CNTT, or whatever we're calling it these days?
Between Annotate and ONAP, not necessarily. No, I don't. Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, just to put things in context, right? This is potentially something we want to do where we say, look, if we were to look at this reference architecture or reference model that's being developed, this is where, ODIM fits in. This is where ONAP would fit in. And then the interactions between the two would become more obvious. Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah. And, there are many in the community who are interested and anxious to see more, points of obvious, intercept, dovetailing, coordination, collaboration.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that in one area that this is being done is ONAP was trying to, create under the OVP, what was the OPNF evaluation program, ONAP, conformance testing of some sort. And that's going to be picked up again in the new Annotate verification program. So.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to create sort of some, connections that are not subjective, but more based on what the work already being done. That's all.
So, yeah.
One more thing, is ONAP for Kubernetes, or whatever the name for it is that still part of ONAP, or is that a separate community?
It is renamed MCO, and it's been moved under, there is still a repo of version 1, I believe, in ONAP, but most of the development now has moved on to MCO, and so there are external companies contributing to MCO in the ONAP and the openness repo in openness.org, which is run by Intel.
Okay, so we moved it to another open source community.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So with just keeping in mind that there is another topic here, final question, Luis, is that when I copy this over to that page, have we effectively submitted our proposals then, or is there anything else that needs to be done?
Well, yeah, we'll have to just flesh it out a little bit, right? Obviously, but no, I think for the time being, to get us on the schedule, on the calendar, this is enough.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we'll go. We'll get on the calendar. Yeah.
Okay, I'll move it over and send you a mail when I've done it, and you can go in and see the disaster I created, and hopefully it's fine, right?
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Then back to our topics. You had a topic that was today. You had a topic.
Yeah.
This one, yeah.
Yeah, click through that one. Yeah. So this is this is like our third priority, in my opinion, behind, release 2101 and also the February event. But I put a placeholder for our induction proposal presentation, and it's over on Google Docs. So just have a look at it. We need to start filling in some information, but we have like a 2-month runway on this. So again, this is not our top priority, but I wanted to get it here because it was fresh on my mind. I was working on it on something else. We need a TAC representative. Latest high-level architecture we'll put in here. Some type of high-level release schedule. We probably want to discuss if we're going to do maintenance releases or not. We'll have to, we'll have to explain that. High-level, scope. This is community health, which will be updated, down the line a little bit. Just a placeholder. This is an example of what we've done for cross-project interactions with other communities. So this is an example of what XG Vela did. So we want to do something similar. I just put it there so, to get the thought process going. Yep.
Very good.
Yep. Also community liaisons across different communities, actual contacts. This is again an example we can fill in. Communities there can also be adjusted. This is just, again, a placeholder. Get us thinking about it.
Is this for the project page or is this for the introductory slides?
Yeah, so this would be for the LFN induction. If we go in front of the TAC and ask to have ODIM come underneath the LFN umbrella, this would be the documentation we'd have to we would present.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can start to look at this and see how we want to add stuff here, I guess. Yes.
Yeah. Again, this is a skeleton. And certainly not our top priority at this point. Here's a roadmap, right? I filled in 2020 based on what I know, what we have, and then we can fill out, some high level roadmap.
Yeah, we need to recast some of our technical charter changes and some of this stuff, some of the things there into this format and kind of realign things. So that may take a little bit of doing, but Jonas, we need to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Alex, we have some stuff there. I don't know if we got hold of the shorter.
But I think now we start with this maybe.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so we're running out of time, guys. I think this was a good meeting today. We got through what we wanted. I will move this over and ping you, Louise, so you can take a look at it and let me know. And then if there is some firming up we need to do, perhaps you can flag those as well, so we can make sure we get in there. And we keep updating you on the release. I would encourage everybody to immediately hang up, download ODIM, and start kicking the tires, right? All right. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very
much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.